Alright, so in today's video we're going to be talking about 11 Charlie, a mortarman in the United States Army, and some tips and tricks that are going to help you to be successful, so when you get to training you already kind of know what's going to happen a little bit. With that being said, let's get into the video.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Second Lieutenant Weaver. I was a former 11 Charlie indirect fire infantryman. And how you can essentially become an indirect fire infantryman, first off, is if you are planning on going active duty, you actually cannot go directly to be 11 Charlie. You have to sign up through your recruiter to be 11 X-ray, and based on the needs of the Army, you'll be either put as a regular infantryman or indirect fire infantryman. If you're a National Guard or Reserve, you can actually check directly to an 11 Charlie contract based off what your unit needs. So if they need 11 Charlie men, you can take that spot. So essentially there's a couple things you need to know before you prepare to do it. Physically, it is a pretty physically demanding job. The Ruck Marches are essentially what you really need to prepare for. So you need to make sure that you are physically ready to be able to hold a rucksack on. I would probably practice be like 50-55 pounds, because the general Army standard is 35 pounds, but you will not only just have that standard weight of all your equipment, but you also have a mortar tube, your weapon, and you have a full kit, which is your IOTV battle vest, and then your ACH, which is your helmet. Also, another thing that's more unique towards mortarmen is one of the rounds for the 120mm mortar is actually 45 pounds. So a good method of make sure that your guys are in shape for it, so you don't go in, being the weak guy in the platoon, is just hold a 45-pound weight that you use for like benching and stuff. Just hold it at the top, and just hold it outside with your arms parallel, straight for about 10 seconds. If you can do that pretty easily, then you can ruck with about 60 pounds worth of weight pretty easily. Then you'll probably be good to go for 11 Charlie, because they're going to build you up. The reason why it's really important to be physically fit is because the number one reason why you don't make it as 11 Charlie is because you get medically disqualified during it, because plenty of people breaking their ankles, breaking their legs, getting groin injuries, all that, and because you're rucking so much, and you're not walking, or you're not running with your ruck marches, you're walking. So that's a different mindset. A lot of people run when they work out with rucks, so make sure you're walking with your ruck marches. All right. So for preparing for 11 Charlie OSA, which is one station unit training at Fort Benning's Sand Hill, what you should expect is to be proficient in 3 mortar systems, which is the 60mm, the 81mm, and the 120mm. You expect, including the first part of OSA, which is basic training, you will still have usually 81mm mortar in your barracks, and I recommend you full-heartedly to utilize that, get used to how to run it. Your drill sergeant should teach you the basics so that you can start become proficient early on, and you should, so you can be ahead of your peers. And then also, once you get into the after phase, which is AIT portion, you can expect to do actual mortar training. So you'll be rucking the FTXs with your mortars, usually 81mm mortar. You'll become proficient in shooting all 3 mortar systems. You will learn how to set them up as well. So you're going to have a mortar team, essentially. So the mortar team, it consists of the squad leader, which basically just overviews the entire mortar team, make sure that they're positioning where they should be, taking out targets they're supposed to, coordinating the entire thing. Then there's 3 key members which you're going to be focusing on at OSIT, and that'll be the gunner, which his main job is to actually just be setting up the weapon system itself, putting up the tripod, base plate, and then also the mortar tube itself. And then you have an assistant gunner, which is actually the person that will be actually setting off the tube. So they'll actually be preparing to fire the mortar system, dropping it down and firing it. Sounds weird because it's the assistant gunner, but that's what usually the job is. And also they can assist the gunner in getting that weapon system up if it's like a big adjustment. So like if you're aiming west, you have to change to east really quick, something like that. But then also you got the ammo bearer, which is a third person, and as it sounds, it's the person that has to prep all the ammo, carry all the ammo in the rucksack. In OSA, you usually won't be having ammo carried with you, so that's good news for the ammo bearer. But they will be prepping the rounds and then handing them off to the AG, the assistant gunner, to fire them off. That's a good thing to know. All right, so and then also there will be a test, written test, not too hard. They'll teach you everything you need to know, especially if you remember the things I tell you now, then you'll be actually successful for this. And then there's also the practical training, which is basically the skill test where you can fail. This is the kind of a culminating event for mortars. So essentially there's a whole test of like setting up a mortar system, getting it aimed in place, and make sure it's all set up perfectly within a time period. There's an expert proficiency at the mortars that you can wear on your dress blues if you are successful at it. And essentially you just got to beat the standard time. If you are even more proficient, you can get the expert time, then that's fantastic. but you can fail this. So this is the thing that you really need to start being proficient in. You gotta practice in your barracks to make sure you're good. And so essentially all you need to do to go into OSIT prepared is be that physically fit, and there's a couple things that you need to memorize. Try to memorize the assistant gunner, and the ammo bearer's job positions. Also memorize the mortar systems, the weight of the 60 millimeter, 81 millimeter, and the 120 of the bipod, the base plate, and the mortar tube. You're going to need to know this, so make sure you do that. And then you also need to know the effective maximum range of each weapon system and the blast radius and kill radius of these. They're two different things. Blast radius will be where you'd expect the round to go off and do damage, and then the kill radius is where you expect to kill somebody. Also, the different types of rounds, which there's illumination, which you light up the sky, high explosive, you explode to kill people, and other ones like that. And lastly, what you should know is also the Soldier's Creed and the Infantryman's Creed. You expect to have those repeated to you, and you're going to sing them more times than you care. You're going to be able to sing them in your sleep by the end of it. And so that's really all you really need to know going into OSIT. If you memorize this stuff and you go into it prepared, then you'll automatically be ahead of your peers, because you're going to be sleep deprived when they try to learn it. If you already know this stuff and you can already repeat it in your sleep before you even get there, you're going to be set up for success. Now, just remember to stay motivated. You guys are going to go out there and become excellent soldiers. And remember, why is the sky blue? Because God loves the infantry. Thank you.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video and this content from Second Lieutenant Weaver. So just some key takeaways from this. Like, try to watch the video again if you guys want to be successful at training. And Soldier's Creed, the Infantryman's Creed, I will put that down in the description, at least a link to those creeds, so when you get there you actually already know it, because I guarantee you most people won't know it. And then also, it's 2019, maybe 2020 by the time you see this video. He went to OSIT in 2016, so some of these things might have changed, so just be adaptable. One of the things you'll learn in the Army, and you'll be set up for success. With that being said, hit me up in the comment section if you guys have any questions or concerns.
Trophy.